budget is based on a quantity surveyor's preliminary cost report. And so what I'm going to do is go through the line items and I guess clarify what each of the line items is for, and anything that I've put in there, what how I've come to that figure. So we'll start with the top. So obviously the purchase price is there. Then the stamp duty, obviously that's the true figure because we've already paid that. Then the legal fees. Now I base the legal fees based on the last time we used at this solicitor, and they came in slightly below that. Then building inspection, that's not right, should be disbursements. I didn't do a building inspection because I didn't have time to do it. Clarify what each of the line items is for, and anything that I've put in there, what each.
Are you hearing that, Bernadette?
How I've come to that figure. So we'll start with the top. So obviously the purchase price is there. Then the stamp duty, obviously that's the true figure because we've already paid that. Then the legal fees. Now I base the legal fees based on the last. You there?
Yeah, sorry, my computer was doing something funny and I was hearing the delayed transcript. Yeah.
So are we. Okay.
Hopefully it's stopped now.
Pardon?
Hopefully it's stopped now.
Yeah. Loan establishment fees. So I budgeted 1,000 and they came in at 800. Now, further, can you just wind down a bit, please, Yvonne, so we can look at the renovation costs? Because let's scroll down. Yeah, okay. So the 50,000 on the top, I have added that in addition to the quantity surveyor's costings because there are areas of work in the existing house that aren't adequately covered. So he would have included some roofing, some painting, some external work, but it wouldn't be sufficient to cover the house in its current condition because it's really in a poor state of repair. So I have based that on the cost to repair the plastering and the walls, to replace the facade or repair the facade, some additional roofing, and also some additional internal doors and skirtings. So that's what that cost is for. Then the next one down, demolition, that came off the quantity surveyor's report. Excavation, 8,200, that will be for the excavating for the new addition. Now the structure, 54,000 is for the timber frame structure for the attic as well as the ground floor. External walls, doors and windows. There's quite a few walls, doors and windows. So this is the first time I've used a quantity surveyor, so I'm going to be really interested to see how it comes in. So internal walls and doors, they will mainly be gyprock, 28,000 for the walls and doors. Wall finishes, I feel that that is a bit light, 6,698. I'm just going to see how it pans out. The floor finishes, 23,973. Now, when this is finished, there will be about 170 square metres. So we're looking, that's about, how much is that a square metre? 170.
I don't have a calculator with me, unfortunately.
I do, but so I'm just working it out at the moment. So that works out at 140 square metres. So that's probably a bit over the top because I'll be doing the ground floor in timber, which I should be able to get for around about 100, and it'll probably be about 140. But upstairs, tile floors won't be that, and also the carpet. He told me that he'd allowed, in his notes, he'd allowed, just double check this. For the carpet, he'd allowed $45 to $50 a square metre. I'll probably be spending around about $35 a square metre. So there's a bit of fat in that, so I'm quite pleased about that. Ceiling finishes, 10,000. That's basically gyprock ceilings and cornices. we'll use all of that and probably some more. Fittings and equipment. So this is our kitchen, our appliances, our sanitary ware and tapware. He's got 54,000. He's told me that he's allowed for high quality stainless steel appliances, and for a high finish. So that should well and truly cover it, and I may probably have money left over. External works, this will be for landscaping, external rendering, that type of thing. May be a little light on, but probably not too bad. External
So Bernadette,
services.
can I ask, the deck you're planning at the back, would that come under external work, or would that be part of the structure?
Yes, it will. It will. It'll come under external work. It's probably the only real cost in the landscaping. There will be some landscaping costs, but it shouldn't be too bad. It'll also cover fencing.
Okay.
Because it's quite a small area, they won't be huge sums, but they do add up, so we need to make sure that they're covered.
It's not quite a small area, it's a tiny area.
Yeah, I know, but you'll be amazed how much money you can spend in a tiny area.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
And I'm belts and braces. I like to have everything. I like to have enough money. I don't like running close to the wind.
Yep.
External services, this will be probably for stormwater connections, and that's 2,200. Other related works, I checked with him on this because I had absolutely no idea what this was, and it's actually, most of that is electrical because the place needs to be rewired. Fire, 671, that's for fire. It'll be a hard wire fire detection smoke alarms. Mechanical is 11,281. I'm really hoping I can pull that back. Hydraulic, that's plumbing and stormwater. So external services, that's the stormwater connection, probably be to go out to the street. And then plumbing and stormwater. That I will need all of that because there is actually no toilet in the house, so I'm going to have to bring the sewer into out from out the back, and so we will need all of that to plumb 3 bathrooms or 2.5 bathrooms, and as well as bringing the sewer in. So preliminaries is all the non-structural costs, things like the building insurance, the homeowner's warranty insurance, the contingency, any safety stuff we need, fencing, all that sort of thing goes into the preliminaries. Now, I've actually added additional contingency because I think with this house being in such a bad state of repair, I need to make sure that I've got additional. I would imagine that he would have probably about 7% in that 38,000. I should have really asked him, but I think that given the condition of the house that we need to add some more, so I've put another 30,000, so basically another 10% in. Now, council fees, I allowed 3,000. Actually, I haven't got my actuals. I'm a bit behind with my bookkeeping, but so far I've only spent 1,800. They were lower than I thought, but I do still have some council fees to go for the building certificate or construction certificate, but we will have money left over out of that. Consultants fees, this was on the left-hand side is the quantity surveyors consultants fees, on the right-hand side is the actual consultants fees, and in actual fact at the moment we're around about 3,000 over budget, but that was a very sort of conscious decision I made. I think I might have mentioned you that I have handed over more work to David just because, he's getting a business up and I want him to, and I'm just as happy to pay him. But if I was concerned about my budget, I would be clawing that back and I would have that fee in at around about 7,000. But so he's basically doing more. Normally I do my own bathroom set-outs and kitchen set-outs, so he's done those this time. There's just a lot of extra stuff that he's doing. And I will explain that to you as we go along once we're talking about design, so you're clear about you know, what you need to allow in to pay for and what you can not pay for and do yourself if you want to. And I have to say, I really like planning my own bathrooms, and in actual fact, even when he's doing it, I've got my nose over his shoulder watching what he's doing.
But I guess
so
that for a job where there is quite a big margin,
yeah,
it's not a bad idea if you're not confident with laying those out to really get some advice on that.
Yeah, it is, but you do have to watch what you spend, because you can, the cost even, and it's sort of a bit, sometimes it's a bit of a mistake to look at it and think, oh, you know, I've got a really big margin, because once you start adding on a bit here and adding on a bit there, then it can add up. So yeah, but for me, and the other thing is, it means that my time commitment is a lot lower. So at the moment, I would be struggling to spend half a day a week on this job. And it will hot up more once the project gets going, but because I've handed a lot more over, I just want to be really clear about that, so I'm not leading people astray on how much time you need to be putting into it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what's PCA?
So PCA is a private certifier. So we had to go to council to get DA. But once we've got that, we will deal through the certifier, just because it's quicker and easier. And so I've got a figure in for him.
Okay.
Now, do you want to move down a bit? Thanks. Okay, so I calculated interest costs over the whole period at 60,000. Now, I've got a worksheet on the back where I'm just watching my interest costs, and I'll show you that in a minute. So obviously I've got the usual utilities there, and then down the bottom I've got the selling fees. So basically the legal fees, disbursements, in actual fact, I know I'm going to save on that legal fee, because I checked with the solicitor and she's given me a really good deal, so I'm only paying $1,200 instead of $1,500. Disbursements will be all of that. So I've allowed myself $5,000 to stage the property. I'm hoping that I can save on that as well. Maintenance, that's just for having the cleaner in and getting keeping the house clean and tidy, and the garden tidy while it's in the sale period. It is a real tie, and you just need to make sure you've got a little bit of money so you can have the cleaners come through after. You know, sort of first, I usually get them through, even though there's been a builder's clean, you still need to get the cleaners through to do a final clean before you open the first time, and then just have them come through for an hour or so, you know, about once a fortnight, just to make sure that it's kept spick and span. Agents' commissions based on 2% at selling price of 1.7 million. I've put an auctioneer's fee in there, just in case we do go to auction. And so, actually, yeah, and I've got all the marketing and photography in there. So at the bottom, I've put in profit. Now, I've put in slightly more than my standard 20%, because I bought well, and I'm hoping that, or I'm expecting I'll be able to clear that without any problems. But, and so basically, so my total costs come to 1.6 million, just over. And so there's a bit of a gap between that and what my proposed sale price is. So I'm in pretty good shape where this project's concerned. But in saying that, I'm going to really have to be conscientious with those building costs, because they can get out of hand really quickly. And they're pretty tight, and I'm going to need to really work on those. I'm just wondering, Yvonne, if you can just go to the tab on the page, go to the sheet behind, and that's just my interest calculations. Just a spreadsheet here, just to show you how I've got this financed. So I've got a business loan or business investment loan at $664,000, and the interest rate on that's 5.64%. Now, then I've got the 20% deposit, it's $166,000, and $33,000 for the stamp duty, and plus the costs that I've accrued so far, they're in a line of credit at 4.8%. Okay, so basically, so my outstanding at the moment is $871,480, and my interest to date is $10,801. Okay, so at the moment it's costing me $130 a day in interest or holding costs, and once it gets into full swing, it'll be up to $200 a day. So I'm quite keen to get it going, because the sooner I get it going, the sooner I get, the sooner I put a cap on those costs. Now, so what I've decided to do is to, actually, Yvonne, you can go back to screen if you like, and I'll talk to the screen rather than having to look at that. Oh, before we go, I should ask, does anyone have any questions about that? Do you, Yvonne? Is there anything that you need to...
My only question would be, just to refresh our memories, you're actually paying for the renovation costs from that line of credit?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so we've got the investment loan, which is in the company name because of the implications with GST. We've got that separate, and then everything else underneath comes out of line of credit. I've probably got a balance. I've got about $600,000 in a line of credit to cover all the other costs. So I'm well financed for it, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there doesn't seem to be any questions coming in at the moment. So.
Okay. Can I ask you to just keep an eye on your email? Or you probably already are. Okay. Okay, so do you want to just go to screen, just so you don't have to look at those horrible numbers anymore?
I think you are on screen.
Oh, am I? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, so what I'm going to do is I've got 3 builders coming to quote so far, and I want to get a couple more, because usually you find a couple drop off before they actually get their price in. So I want to make sure I've got plenty of options. But I'm bringing them onto site because I want to have a conversation with them about breaking up the work. So I'm thinking that I might have 2 builders on site, have one work on the attic and the other one work on the addition, and then I'll be having, I'll get them to quote on the remedial work, but my expectation is that I'll be managing that. The reason I'm looking at doing that, and it may not necessarily pan out that way, but I'm certainly couching it that way with them, is because if I get a builder who is, and keep in mind I'm using a new builder this time, who will sort of do one section of work and then move on to the other, the time frame is going to be quite long, and I want to look at ways of pulling the time frame in. So if I can get to working concurrently, then I'm going to be able to shorten my construction time. Saying that, sometimes there are some logistics with that, so I'm going to actually have a conversation with them to see whether it is feasible to be able to do that, because we are off program at the moment, so I want to try and pull it back if I can. I had plenty of time allowed in for this project at the beginning, but it's amazing how how you can go from being quite well covered to actually having to be really diligent and trying to pull things back. Not much has to happen for things to go a bit awry. So not that it is awry, but it's just not where I want it to be.
So Bernadette, could it be possible that one builder, a larger builder, could actually work on 2 areas at the one time? Would that be better than having 2 separate builders?
It is possible, and that would certainly be good, but I just need to keep my options open. So, I'm sure when I talk to them about that, they're going to say, oh, we can do it all at once. And so, well, that's fine, but you need to working on both areas at once, because I've seen how they operate, and they just need to have the capacity to be able to do that. And sometimes when you go to a higher tier builder, you also go to a higher tier pricing structure, and I don't want that to be the sort of result. Yeah. So the other thing is, I think I mentioned on the weekend that I keep in close contact with my agent, and I hadn't spoken to him for a while, and I got a little email from him today just saying that how the market's really good at the moment. It's cruising along really nicely. So I'm sort of pretty happy with that, because, you know, I don't really want the market to go belly up just yet. So, yeah.
That's good.
So is there anything else that I can tell you?
I guess my question would be, how diligent are you? Do you keep this spreadsheet up to date the whole time?
Well, I'm being pretty slack at the moment because there's not a lot to add to it. But once we start paying out money, you know, on a weekly basis, I'll be keeping it updated weekly.
And do you use any further detail, or is this? Well, I'm just putting it back up now.
Yeah.
So when we come up to, just say, for example, any of these, like demolition or external doors,
yeah, I get what you mean.
Do you keep a separate track of how much the doors cost against the windows, or do you keep it that higher scale there?
So no. So once we start getting quotes in, we will end up with a whole lot more line items on that spreadsheet. So basically, as we start getting quotes for what we're doing, the demolition will be broken down. Well, not so much the demolition, that's likely to be one figure, but other elements of it where I'm supplying materials and the builder's supplying, you know, labour and probably some materials as well. I won't get his materials breakdown, but certainly mine will go in there as separate line items, and any day labour that I employ will. So basically, whatever bills I pay end up as a line item on the spreadsheet.
Okay. Yep. Excellent. I look forward to sort of seeing it part way through as well.
Yep, we can actually update the spreadsheet like just for a couple of minutes every webinar, because I think that's probably quite a good idea to watch how we're travelling.
Absolutely.
The other thing is, so I'm at the moment, I've got 3 builders coming on Saturday, so I'm at the moment organising scopes of work. Now, I'm not getting too far into the detail yet because I want to have a conversation with them before I go too far down that path, just to see basically how they work. If you get a really good builder, they do a lot of the work for you, and so I'm just really hedging my bets a bit. But, yeah, so a scope of work is really just a list of things that you want them to do. And for us, it's about dividing the work up into trades. And because we're not subcontracting the major part of the build, it'll be more about pulling out what we're going to do, because we are expecting to take it to lock up with the builder and then finish it off ourselves. With trades, obviously.
Yeah.
My days on the paintbrush are over.
Thank heavens.
Yeah, yeah. So, no questions, anyone?
No, there hasn't been any questions come in the room.
It's feeling very lonely in here, girls. But anyhow, that's fine. If you think of anything that you want to ask after the call, just send an email off. And I'm hoping this is of value, and I'll look forward to your feedback anyhow.
So next time we come together for this, what we'll be covering, we'll be going over the quotes and the scope of work a little bit.
So next time we come together, we'll probably be talking about kitchen and bathroom planning, but I'll certainly give you an update on where we're at with the quotes and the costings.
Excellent. I look forward to it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Well, listen. Thanks everyone for coming on the call. I hope that this has been of value, and I'll look forward to hearing your questions if you have any. Take care.